The UN could soon consider additional fees for internet use, according to documents obtained by UN watchdog group WCIT Leaks. A draft proposal by the European Telecommunications Network Operators Association, or ETNO, advocates a sending party pays method for big names on the internet. It would levy fees on high-traffic websites that serve users outside the US. Companies like Google and Netflix could have to pay up. But the ETNO says it's not looking for mandatory fees. This is more about fair compensation for loading down networks. Forbes reports ETNO stopped short of calling for an actual tax, saying instead that it wants telecommunication network operators to consider making deals with content providers. And the Register points out providers and network operators aren't necessarily being forced to pay anything. The documents linked to only permit companies operating networks to negotiate with content providers for a contribution to the cost of carriage, with nothing mandated and no governments involved at all. But serving traffic in developing countries could very well become prohibitively expensive. CNET quotes Cisco's VP of Global Technology Policy. Developing countries could effectively be cut off from the internet, says Robert Pepper, a former policy chief at the U.S. Federal Communications Commission. It could have a host of very negative unintended consequences. News of ETNO's proposal comes amid recent worries that the UN International Telecommunications Union could take greater regulatory control of the internet. Free internet advocates are calling for greater transparency in the whole process, from regulation to taxation. Computer World has a quote from Googler Vint Cerf at a congressional hearing on the ITU's plans. A lack of transparency to non-governmental groups results in insufficient accountability, Cerf said. It is important for parties to fully understand a process that affects all internet users, especially when the stakes are so high, says TechDirt. Whatever happens here is happening behind the scenes, in back rooms without public scrutiny. And if we're talking about regulating the internet that the public uses so much, that seems like a pretty big problem. ETNO's fees proposals are slated to go before the ITU this December. For Newsy, I'm Nathan Byrne. Multiple sources, the real story.